to this week's episode of Inside the Headset presented by CoachComm. This week, we are featuring Illinois head coach Bret Bielema's general session speech for the 2023 AFCA Convention. In this talk, Coach Bielema discusses how he creates a culture of being tough, smart, and dependable, defines important characteristics of Illinois football, and gives some practical advice to young coaches. But first, a word from CoachComm.
Deuce left, check with me. If they're in quarters match, we're going to Pittsburgh or Ohio.
They're in zero.
Let's go Hippo, Seattle, wide choice. If we call the protection right, it's 6.
When a play call is the difference between winning and losing, your headset choice could be your most important decision. When the call counts, CoachComm is the only choice for clear, dependable communication. Visit CoachComm.com for more info.
We got it, guys. Good job.
Now, let's get inside the headset with Coach Bielema.
Good. I'm going to give you a little bit of football fix now. I know you listened to some administration from Mr. Bowlesby. Bob Bowlesby was actually the first athletic director I ever worked for. I was a graduate assistant at the University of Iowa. I was 23 years old. Hayden Fry lost his linebacker coach, and he offered me an opportunity to become a full-time coach at the age of 23. I'd only been a GA for a year. So I actually had my first job title. I was interim linebacker coach. I was driving a Buick Impala that it was a hand-me-down from my grandmother, and I was making about $8,000 a year, and Hayden Fry said, hey, I can name you a linebacker coach, but you have to be an interim linebacker coach. He said, I can give you a car, but you have to take over Bill Brazier's car. Bill Brazier was driving a Cutlass Supreme. I said, have you seen what I've been driving? I'll definitely take that. He goes, well, the bad news is I can only pay you $60,000. I'm like, no, it's a hell of a lot better than $8,000 I'm making now. So the world comes full circle. I remember coming to this convention with Coach Fry. I was walking through the vendors, went by the Wilson booth. We were a Wilson team, used the Wilson footballs, and they were handing out basically leather attaché, kind of like a folder for all the head coaches. And Coach Fry looked at me and he said, hey, do you want mine? And I said, absolutely. So I got that folder in 1993. I carried that folder with me every day. The guys that work for me, my staff, all the staffs I've been on, even when I was with the Patriots and the Giants, I carry that folder every day because it just reminds me of where I started, right? I came to this convention as a GA, listened to head coaches. I listened to Joe Paterno speak that first one. I listened to Bobby Stoops, who was a defensive coordinator at the time, speak as a defense coordinator. And I was sitting in the stands or in the audience just like you guys are right now, saying to myself, man, if I could come here and speak, right, as a defense coordinator, maybe I could come here someday and speak. It'd be pretty awesome. This is my 7th time I've spoke here at the convention for this very reason. I love to pour knowledge, right, and pay it forward. I'm not saying you're going to learn anything in the next half hour, but hopefully I'm going to try to show you a little bit of everything. I thought about different things we could talk about. I was going to kind of just take you through our building. If you were a student athlete or a visiting coach or someone that comes through, I've been at the University of Illinois for 2 years, and everything that we have done over these last 2 years has been a direct reflection of everything I've learned in all my experiences since 1993 when I first started coaching to where we are today. I've had a very, very generous path. I've been very blessed to work for some great coaches. I started off playing and coaching at the University of Iowa under Hayden Fry. When Hayden retired, Kirk Ferentz took over, and Kirk rewarded me with an opportunity to stay on his staff. I was there with, to this day, probably one of the greatest coaches in our profession, Norm Parker, although he's no longer with us, had a huge influence on my life. That whole staff at the University of Iowa, many of which are still there, were a big part of that. I left there, went to Kansas State University, and went to work for another guy by the name of Bill Snyder, who was a Hall of Fame coach waiting to be, and was able to be there for 2 years. My first year as first experience as a coordinator, I was a co-coordinator with Bobby Elliott, who's a tremendous influence on my life. After I was at Kansas State for 2 years, got a call from Barry Alvarez to come to the University of Wisconsin and become the defensive coordinator there. Took over a program or a defense that was, I believe, ranked like 85th or 88th. I remember when I took the job, I was looking at the rankings because at Kansas State we'd been one of the top 5 defenses in the country both years I was there, and we really thought about where we needed to go. Took that defense to the #1 defense in the country the next year. After that year, Coach Alvarez came up to me after our last game. I was standing in a parking lot after a press conference interview, and he said, hey, next year I'm going to retire, and I'm going to name you the head coach. We're sitting in this parking lot. Nobody's around us. I'm like going, what in the hell are you talking about? I'm trying to talk them out of it, right? Like, no, you want to stay? And then I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to give me the job? And really started a head coaching career there. This is going in my 15th year. Just truly one of the most rewarding experiences in our lifetime. So I kind of want to show you that from the first moment I walked into the University of Illinois, this slide was up on our team meeting room, all right? I'm not a big cliche guy. We'll go through some things, but I want people to know what we are, right? And by that, I mean our players, right? When they come into every meeting, I start the day right with a meeting every day, and this is the first thing that our players see. A tough, smart, dependable. And I always tell our players, right, this is our coaches, our recruiting department, our people that work in our building, this is our DNA, right? If we were at the scene and they come back and try to find out who was here, that's our DNA. We're tough, we're smart, we're dependable. Doesn't matter how fast you are, how high you can jump, or how far you can throw the football. If your ass is tough, smart, dependable, you got a chance to play at the University of Illinois. We will not always have better talent than our team that we're playing against, but we will have the best effort to become the toughest, smartest, dependable team on the football field every given Saturday, all right? That's a big deal with me, and that's in the way we recruit. It's the way I've got a couple positions open, GAs, analysts, I don't give a shit, all right? They have to understand this is what Illinois is. So they see this a lot. All right, so that's at the beginning and at the end of every presentation that I give to our team and talk a lot about, all right? And I can't say that enough, all right? So this is one I actually stole from the Patriots, all right? I was a head coach at the University of Wisconsin for 7 years, and I went to the University of Arkansas for 5 years. After my 5th year, they decided they could do better without me. They wrote me a nice big check, and I left, all right? And I was pissed at the world, but I do remember getting a phone call the day after I was let go from Bill Belichick, right? And Coach and I had built up a little bit of relationship. He had drafted quite a few of my players, both at Wisconsin and Arkansas. And he said, hey, I know today is a tough day, right? I got let go at Cleveland, and I was angry at the world. I really didn't know and understand what I had done wrong. I was mad. I was upset. And then a couple days later, I realized that I can stop complaining about that, or I can get myself ready for the next opportunity I got. His next opportunity, obviously, was with the Patriots and has done what he's done, right? So when that opportunity came after Arkansas to go join Bill in New England, I jumped at that moment, right? And I remember the first time I walked in the building, there was a door, all right, that all the players and all the coaches had to walk through. And this was set up so that on the right side of the door was these, not these exact ones, but some things that were written down that every player and every coach walks through every day, right? And on the flip side of it, the back end of this presentation, I'll show you the sign walking out. So if you walk into our building, any place that the players and coaches walk into, this is up, all right? So do your job. You guys have probably heard that one, seen it, right? It's something that is very, very simple to say, right? Maybe an easy thing to talk about, but once you get in an organization, if people know what their freaking job is, things can go really, really well. Because everybody's job is different. Every one of my coaches have a different responsibility. I have a head coaching job. That's my job. If anybody else tries to do my job, we're not going to be very good. Right? I can take advice, I can listen to other people, but the head coach is the guy that makes the decisions, right? And that's what I have to do. Whether they're fun, whether they're not fun, whether they're difficult, whatever they are, my job is to be the head coach. If I try to be our defensive coordinator, we're not going to be as good either. If I try to be the offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, I hire people to do that job. If the second string right guard thinks he's the first string right guard, all right, he can try to be that, but if he suddenly thinks he's better than the guy that's in front of him, we're going to have a problem. His ass is to get ready in case that first string guy goes down, and now his opportunity comes. Everybody has a job to do in that building. Make them understand it, all right? Work hard, all right? Everybody is going to work when you come in the building, all right? If you don't, you're going to get fired, all right? That's the way life is, players and coaches. But what you can do is work harder than the opponents you're facing, right? So right now, we have 12 guaranteed opponents next year. My challenge to them when we start classes next Tuesday, when we start our 8-week winter conditioning program, I want them to work harder than any team that we're going to play against. Put that in their mind. Make them ingrain it. Our coaches, right? You have to work smart, but you have to work hard, right? This is a big one. Be here, right? Be here is it's something that in today's world is probably at a premium, because in our meeting rooms, right? You go into our meeting room, when you're walking in that door, you're going to see 118 cell phones on the ground. Right? I don't let them carry cell phones in their meetings, but they don't have to stay in their locker either. Because right when they're walking in that meeting room, I sit there, I get there 5 minutes before we're walking in, every kid's looking at his phone, checking that last little message, DM, text, tweet, face snap, whatever the hell it is, right? Like they're looking at it. And they put that phone down, and as soon as they get out of that meeting room, they go to that phone. They're addicted to it, right? Why? I can't change that. Don't fight it, but you can prevent it, right? Make them be in that meeting with you, right? Don't let them carry a cell phone in there. Don't let them be distracted, right? When we come in that building, you're going to be in that building, be here in that building. Don't let your mind go back to your apartment. Don't let your mind go back to your mom and dad's house where maybe there's an issue back there, right? I was in a season that back-to-back weeks. I lost my mom on a Wednesday. I lost my father-in-law the following Tuesday. Tough, hard moments, extremely hard moments. I had to leave the building 2 straight weeks in a row against Michigan. I had to leave the building on a Thursday because I couldn't keep it together. Went and lost a tough game at Michigan. Come back in, bury my mom on a Monday. And I'm sitting at my desk on a Wednesday morning, coming in, and my father-in-law, who's my best friend in the world, he's gone. I had to leave the building. But I came back in because I wanted them to know I'm here. I'm here for you. I got problems in my house that don't affect you. I'm going to be here, right? And it's a really hard thing for kids this day to believe and understand, but it's a huge part in your program. And then always put the team first. And this does not mean you got a corner that's going to play wide out, or you got a wide out, we want to play corner. It doesn't mean that I got a running back that I want to try a wide receiver. It doesn't mean bad things. Putting the team first is as simple as hydrating. It could be a guy that plays video games way too much and he's getting bad grades. Putting the team first for him is stop playing video games. Put the team first might mean that I might ask you to do something this week that's a little bit tough. You got to block that guy that's a first-team All-American. Congratulations, all right? Let's block his ass, right? Put the team first. For you that week is you're going to play the game of your life against that cat. We're going to help you when we can, but I need you to be great this week. Put the team first. When we're in a wet weather ball game, right? I want you to be at your best when it's at its worst. We're in a wet weather game. Quarterbacks, you got to hang on to that ball. You got to possess that ball. You got to be great with that ball. Anybody that touches the ball. In our program, if you're on offense or you touch the football, you can't wear sleeves, right? You can't wear sleeves because sleeves make it slick. I laugh all the time when I watch teams that we're playing or in the NFL and guys can't figure out why that ball just popped out. Well, they're actually wearing sleeves. It's not an ego thing, pride thing. It's a common sense thing, right? Just put the team first. And that thing goes a long way. So I kind of wanted to start with that because this is exactly what our guys see every day walking in the building. And I will ask the guys, right? Especially we got these new freshmen coming in. We got 9 freshmen coming in next Tuesday. They will expect to know, like, well, they're not going to be, a sign isn't going to be in front of them. They're going to expect to know what are the 4 things walking in the door and what do they mean to you? I'll have upperclassmen ask the questions and they'll tell them the answers. Right, so we'll build that. This is a huge deal. These 4 things, walking in the building, I'll reference them all the time. Some kid's not having a great practice, his mind somewhere else. I go, are you here? Are you here? Right? You got a guy that's had a soft tissue injury, right? Lagging 2 or 3 weeks, right? And you can't figure out why he can't get it right because he doesn't hydrate. He doesn't do soft tissue. Every day when we come in the building, we have a weigh-in at a half hour before any meeting. We always know our guys have got to weigh in and piss test. It's not to complicate them. It's not to give them a hard time. I want to know if they're hydrated, especially guys that have traits that show that they have problems with hydration. I want to proactively protect them. That's why I'm piss testing you. All right? So there's a big, big deal coming in our building every way. All right? So this is our practice phase. So this particular meeting here is obviously, I can't even read it. I got my glasses here. I promised first time I talked here I didn't need readers. I do now, right? So this is Nebraska. Practice number 3 against Nebraska, all right? This is what I do, all right, in front of the team. This is the defensive face. This is the offensive face, right? So you got all of our meetings over here. So the team meeting starts at 7 o'clock. That means at 6:30, every player had to have his weight. And if he was a guy that needed to have a hydration test, he needed to have it done, all right? So that's an unwritten rule. Everybody knows it, right? Then we go special teams meetings. We go OD meetings. We'll transition. That's the amount of time I allow them to get out on the field. And then we'll go into Devo walk, which is developmental walk with our young guys while the top 2 strings are getting ready. We'll do 5 minutes of Devo walk. Took that from the Patriots as well, right? We would always work our starters, our best players, but then after practice, we would keep our players, our Devo players, the guys that weren't playing, we'd keep them for 10 minutes after practice, run 12 to 14 plays. and the value of those guys communicating. It's not necessarily executing the play, it's the communication to let them know they're being coached, growth out of them. So we'll do a Devo walk at the beginning of practice, and then we'll go a special teams walk, and then we'll hop into practice. And then I lay out the practice so they know it's a Wednesday practice. So we got flex, we got field goal versus Rangers. Rangers are a field goal block unit. We got a kickoff coverage drill. We got Indy, all the white is Indy, all the blue is team period. So we got an inside, a Skelly, a team. We got one-on-ones opposite of Skelly and inside. And then we got our punt, our break, a team, a team unit individual period where we'll work a ball obsession circuit and a tackle circuit, and then we'll end up with team. I do this for one reason. I want to let everybody know what the hell we're doing today, all right, and apply that so that they use their time well.
And now, a quick word from StatsBomb. Transform your analysis with StatsBomb at AFCA booth 864. Our intuitive platform gives you an edge by saving you hours of analysis time between games, uncovering new insights, and speeding up transfer portal assessments. It harnesses the power of our aligned tracking and event data, delivering details at 10 times the granularity of legacy suppliers. This wealth of data includes in-depth physical metrics, groundbreaking visualizations, and comes with support from our experts to ensure you can confidently make the best decisions for your team. Want to know more? See our solutions for yourself at AFCA booth 864, and let's change the game together. Now, let's get back to the episode.
All right, so this happens to be our Nebraska keys to victory. So I would show them, all right, during the course of the week, we have keys to victory in all phases, offense, defense, special teams. And then for me as a head coach, I come up with 3 keys that I base off of what I've seen off film, off of what I hear from our coaches, and then we harp these guys all during the course of the week. So this is a Wednesday practice, and Nebraska week just happens to be we want to prepare and start fast. Nebraska was coming off of our second bye week. Earlier in the year, we had a bye week 1. We played in week 0, so we got 2 bye weeks. And when we played Wisconsin, we were kind of slow out of the gate. We didn't start off fast. It was a tight ball game in the first half, kind of ended up closing it out in the second half. But I didn't want to go through that again coming out of a bye week. So huge emphasis for me as a head coach. We want to prepare. It just doesn't start fast. Like anybody could just say, hey, let's start fast. No shit, everybody wants to do that. All right, we got to prepare to start fast. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, anytime we start a drill, I wanted to talk about starting fast so that they don't hear it just on Saturday. They want to hear it during the course of the week, all right? Point number 2, best fundamental football in 2022. We were going into our, I believe it was our 8th game, right? Our 7th or 8th game. We had lost our second game, so at this time I think we were 6-1 or 7-1. And life had been going good, but we had been in a bye week, and during that bye week, I didn't really want to rep our guys all that much, our starters, the guys who were taking the majority of the reps. So all they did during the bye week was individual work. They didn't do any plays. They didn't run any schemes. All they did was indie work, about 10 to 20 minutes each day, sometimes 30. I wanted to be great at fundamentals. Right, because I knew going into the Nebraska game, they'd gotten a little momentum. They'd let Scott go. They'd won a couple games. They were getting a little bit of momentum. But I knew fundamentally, if we played our best fundamental football, we would have a really good chance to win. All right. And the last one, all right, we were at Nebraska, and I know that stadium, they get a little bit of momentum. You got to finish it out. I figured we would play well. I thought we would start probably ahead in the way it played out, but I knew that we would be in a situation they would come back hard, which they did a little bit until we shut it down. So this is a key to victory, and I think it's important from the head coach's point that the guys hear it all, right? Now, my coordinators will go through offensive keys to victory, defensive keys to victory, and special teams keys to victory, and then all of the positions. So defensive coordinator will go through the defensive keys to victory, but then the D-line coach, he has 3 keys. The outside linebacker coach has 3 keys, and it has to be specific things that make their units win. I don't want to see the standard, tackle well, we got to break up passes. I want to know we're going to play with leverage. We're going to set the edge, all right? If we're going to go after a specific player, a quarterback, we're going to pressure him from the outside linebacker room and the safeties if we're going to disguise, right? Whatever it is, those things are very, very important, right? So I thought I'd do now is just show you a couple of these things during practice. If we have drills that are new or things that we don't do all the time, I show them clips, right? So this is, we call an obsession circuit, right? Everybody's got turnover drills. This is one that we put together when I was with the Giants, trying to simulate kind of what we see. One of the biggest changes that really has evolved in football is the punch out. The NFL, they're freaky about it. It's caught on a little bit in college, but nothing level. The NFL, it happens all the time. Bad ball security, but what we're trying to do is simulate a ball carrier that's It's not the guy you see, it's the guy you don't see. So we're trying to teach our defensive guys. He's concentrating on making this guy miss, right? But then he wants to go on a punch out, right? So we just get as many reps of this and simulate this as best we can. So it's just constant, hey, we want to be able to execute this, and it's putting guys in this position, teaching them you're trailing. He's making that guy miss. He's coming right into you. There's an opportunity. You can make this tackle, right? But a lot of times that ball's exposed, right? So we want to teach our guys as many times as they can, right? This is a different day. We're in the stadium here, right? But this is Coach Henry, our DB coach, right? It's not so much everybody does this drill, but I'm sure just like all college coaches, high school coaches, you only have a certain amount of time, right? So that obsession drill that we just showed you, those guys know it's boom, next guy up. You see 38 getting ready right there, right? Moving. Same thing here. So what I love when I was watching this drill, right? Here we're making the routine break catch, right? But the next guy is going into that drill. Run the drill efficiently, all right? And then I say, here's the biggest one, all right? Coach Henry does not have a great arm, right? So he's perfect for this drill. Don't throw it right in their chest, right? Make them reach for it, right? So here's a ball that's out in front. We'll talk specifically. This is Kendall Smith, all right? He's a free safety. He dropped 2 picks early in the year. I said as many balls as you can give him above his head. Above his head. He has a hard time catching balls above his head, right? Went on, I believe, to have 6 interceptions this year, 5 or whatever it was, but he dropped 2 early in the year above his head. So every time he was throwing to Kendall, he threw in the ball that he struggled the most with, right? He was a midpoint high free safety. He ended up making a lot of these catches, right? So just the continuity, the flow, right? The continuity, the flow, throw it outside of their catch radius so they get good at catching bad balls or tough balls. Here's our D-line, all right? This is another one. This is just a ball recovery drill. Again, make them do something so they're not just, get their feet, their eyes, all right? And then you'll see, all right, different guys. We have a couple different rules. We got the scoop and score, all right? But you'll see here too, like right here, the ball's kind of dead, and you'll see when the ball's dead, our guys will actually push down on it, compress the ball, and pick it up. Rather than trying to bobble around it, they'll actually press it down, right, so that they can get their hands on it, open space. Now, this is a country fumble, all right? I don't know how many guys follow this shit, and I don't know if you care or not, right? It's not just a fumble. Tell me what kind of fumble it is. Well, when a fumble is around a bunch of people, right, you're in a bunch of people, there are a bunch of people around you, you're in the city, so that's a city fumble. So you'll hear our guys yell, city, 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 and that means get your ass on it, right? Because there's traffic around you, all right? When you're out in the country, there ain't people around you, all right? Just a bunch of pigs and cows and shit that can't matter, right? So this is a country fumble, all right? So you got country, you'll hear guys, they don't know who's around them, they just see a ball. If our guys are yelling country, that means you got some space, pick it up and run, all right? So we'll practice city versus country and kind of drill that through our guys. They'll practice, this happens to be a country day, right? We may do it the next day and they'll go back to city, all right? RTD drills, these are run tackle drills, all right? So I really believe the game of football is about how well you can run the football, how well you can tackle the football, and that's about it. I don't care what position you play, all right? It could be a catch, it could be a handoff, it could be a kickoff return. The guy running with the ball, I don't care how he got it, how does he run with the ball, and how does the guy that's gonna tackle him tackle that guy? That's what the game is about, right? So we do a bunch of these RTD drills, run tackle drills. This is a circle chase, all right? It's a circle chase that basically puts guys in a position, all right? The blue guys are the offensive guys, the white guys are the defensive guys. The white guys in jerseys, I should say, right? So now they're gonna run this circle chase, all right? It begins with everybody starting in the same position. So we got a defensive guy here. Here's a cone, just a flat cones. I don't wanna have the big cones. Step on, turn an ankle. Offensive guy's gonna come here. We're gonna have the quarterback deliver the ball to him because the ball is never just placed in your hands as a receiver. You gotta catch it. So to do this drill, we always start with a catch. Right now we teach this defensive player, he's gonna come tight around his cone and make this guy deviate out. This defender is gonna run the high hump. He's gonna come around the outside, and now he's trying to force him with the ball carrier coming inside, the tackler coming inside. So you see this, defensive guy comes inside tight. He wants to force the leverage of the offensive guy to the outside down on the numbers, and this guy takes a swipe at the ball, right? So it's a circle chase. The element of the quarterback is 10 yards away from him, so he's gotta catch the ball. All right, you see him go to the tuck right away, right? So they get used to tucking the ball with traffic. Now he's going to continue the drill. He works the leverage. If he goes out here, he's out here, the ball carrier is going to cut inside. So we want to teach these guys how to leverage off each other as tacklers. He comes up inside and he takes a swipe at the ball, right? So this is the run tackle drill. Another good example here, just same drill, right? But guess what, right? You just might have designed the greatest pass concept in the history of football. Greatest play call of the day, and you drop the ball, right? Don't just put the thing in their hands. Don't let them, make them execute running and catching, all right, with traffic around them, right? So this drill just goes for naught. This is one of our better receivers who forgot to catch the ball, man. There's no better disappointment than everybody in there be like, come on, catch the ball. I don't have to say shit, right? Because all these guys know the drill just got screwed up because you didn't catch the freaking ball, right? Like put pressure on them, right? Put pressure on them. Make them hold each other accountable, right? Make them hold each other accountable. Catch the ball, all right? So here's the next one. This is a freshman. Make him catch the ball. And this is a key point, right? Catch the ball to the tuck, right? This guy's coming in. It's not the guy you see. It's the guy you don't see, right? So it's this guy. He's got vision. It's this guy that's going to punch the ball out. You see him trying to work it. Another key element here, right? Sounds like an easy thing, but teach these receivers and quarterbacks to throw the ball away from defenders, right? It's an easy, tight throw, but don't put it on him right here where this defender can punch it out. Put it away from him, right? Put it away from him so the ball is away from the defender. The quarterback learns to place the ball away from the defender, and the receiver knows that the quarterback is leading him this way because he has a defender that he doesn't know is closing, but the quarterback can see it. Simple football stuff, but you got to coach that, man. Some kids don't know that, right? So element there is big, 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 big. All right, this is another RTD. So this is a catch and tuck, and then a two-way down the sideline, right? So we'll work offensive guys, defensive guys, skill players, and big skills. So this is our skill over here. So again, starts with a throw from the quarterback, all right? It's about 10 yards. Then they're gonna turn, they're gonna drop bucket step, they're gonna secure the football, they're gonna come forward. Now the two defenders, one is on the boundary, all right? And one is standing on the bottom of the number. So there's two guys going. When this guy turns and comes, he doesn't know which guy's coming at him. So you teach him, all right, to read and run defend off of the look that he sees, all right? So the defender, he's going to drop down. You'll see him. He drops down when the quarterback begins to throw. So he gives an up, down, and now he's chasing down the red line, and then this is the drill, right? He's taking away leverage from this angle. He wants to force the defender into the boundary. If he cuts inside of him, he's got to cut inside the numbers, or he can try to maximize. All we want to do here is teach these guys. We want to teach them to maximize their run space and their yardage, right? So to cut this thing back, this guy's just going to get blown up, all right? What we're trying to do is get him to make one hard cut and maximize the yards gain. Right now, that's probably a big-ass collision right there, whereas if he just worked his leverage and came right here, he might get 2 more yards, right? It's all about those 1 or 2 yards. Who's willing to sacrifice those 1 or 2 yards, all right? So this is a good example right here. So right here, you'll see him work right down that, well, at Illinois, it's an orange line. We're very creative. It's not the red line everywhere else. It's the orange line at Illinois, all right? But here's the angle. Make him go. Now, he should, as soon as he cuts back into this thing, there's no reason to cut back into this thing. Boom, this is open spacing right here. Get your 3 or 4 extra yards. Drive that thing forward, right? Now, he thinks he's going for the home run, but all he does is just got blown up there by the outside linebacker, right? And then for me, this is a good reminder that I got to lose weight, right? Film never lies, Jesus, right? So now I getting drilled because I really wanted to whack this kid, right? So you can take out some frustration too, but this is a good one here, right? This is a good example of, this is the wide receiver. He's 2 yards away. He's supposed to be 2 yards, not 4, 2, right? 2. That's where he should be starting, right? So now the drill's got to get moved up. We'll see in a minute. But now just a lazy cut right here. See how he just kind of moves, kind of molasses, oatmeal, something syrup, I don't give a shit. It's slow moving, right? Make cuts, quick cuts. We've got the line there. Make a cut, fast, deliver, run. Don't go through at half speed, right? See how vertical it is? It's just it's like everybody, any guy on our team will be able to watch this and like, that's not really good, right? Nobody got better on that rep. But you see the next guy, can't catch it again. Got to catch the ball. Casey Washington, good player. Got to catch it, man. He started worrying about the other stuff, right? He's worried about me whacking him. I was in his head, right? Like then we got all this. This is great on Saturday nights, right? But all that dancing does you no good. I want one cut. Make a cut and go. Make a cut and go. All right? This is the one that may not come up all the time, right? But when it does, it's huge. So we teach sideline recovery offensively and defensively. Obviously, whoever possesses the ball in college football, whoever has the football last, has the football as it goes out of bounds, right? It's the last to possess it. So we teach our defensive guys, when we're near a sideline, right, it doesn't do us any good to recover it if our foot is touching the line, all right? So we tell these guys, and we teach them, right, you got a partner, loose ball, right? This ball is recoverable inbounds. You can see the sideline right there. He catches it, tucks it, that's our ball, right? The very next drill, right, the very next rep, we're trying to make them all different. Here you see the defensive guy. Now it's really near the boundary, so he can't do the same drill. He's got to bat that thing back, and now he's got it there for a buddy that can recover it, right? So it just may only happen 4 or 5 times a year, right? But that ball's near the boundary, you got to know the rules, right? So we know this guy, he can't really get down there and recover it. He didn't feel he could scoop it and possess and stay in bounds, so he bats it back to his teammate. We work a little sideline recovery. Again, same principle. He does a better job. He's 2 yards from the boundary. He feels like he can get it down. He can recover it. That's his decision, right? Work his way through it, right? So just a couple drills there that I thought would be good. I'm 46 seconds away from being done, but here's the door walking out, right? Put the team first. It's the only one that's repeated. It's the last one walking in. It's the first one walking out. Put the team first. When you're leaving the building, if you're going to go train for 3 hours and go home and abuse your body, putting something in it, food-wise or hydration-wise, you're not going to get enough rest. You're going to go play video games. You're not putting the team first walking out the door. All right? Second thing, speak for yourself. There's too many people in this world that think they can speak for others. I don't speak for you as a head coach. I don't say things that you don't want me to say or speak about you in a way. You sure as shit shouldn't say something about anybody else, right? Live your routine. I encourage our guys, go home the same way. Try to sleep the same pattern. Prepare yourself the same way every day, because if you can give a routine and get into it, usually good things happen. Huge one for us. And then manage the outside, right? Manage the outside is a really, really big deal, right, for everybody as it goes, all right? And go, they just cut off my time. I put my last slide up here, all right? Choose a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. I had a great NFL career. I was with the Seattle Seahawks for 6 days before they cut me, right? I had $28 in my name, all right, and my Shazam card, my bank card back in the day. Had $28. My mom and dad didn't have nothing, so I'm on my own trying to figure it out. Coach Fry invites me in, tells me he'd like me to become a student assistant and become a GA for him in the football. I never really thought about coaching, kind of dabbled with it, but I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go. I leave that meeting. And I go to the Yin Ching, which was a $2.99 lunch buffet in Iowa City, Iowa. They'd let me eat as long as I could, and it was only $2.99. I could cover that. The cookie at the end of my meal was a Confucius says, choose a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. True story. I've been coaching for 30 years. I've had a lot of wins. I've had a lot of losses. I've gotten fired once. I don't know if I've worked a day in my life yet.
CoachComm has been delivering tough headsets for tough teams for more than 31 years. It's why 97% of FBS teams and thousands of high schools across the country rely on CoachComm. Get the best for your team. Visit CoachComm.com for more info.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset, presented by CoachComm. If you'd like to learn more about this week's episode, head over to AFCA.com. There, you can access every episode and find corresponding show notes. Remember, you can catch every episode of Inside the Headset presented by CoachComm on wherever you get your podcast, including Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. While you're there, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Your feedback helps us improve and grow. Keep up with the latest news by following us on social media. Connect with us at Inside the Headset, and remember to tag us when you share your favorite episodes. For more updates on all things AFCA, be sure to follow the @WeAreAFCA social media accounts. If you're not a part of the AFCA community yet, visit AFCA.com to join thousands of NFL, college, and high school coaches nationwide and across the globe. Elevate your coaching game with an AFCA membership. You'll gain exclusive access to the annual AFCA convention, magazine, digital library, and AFCA Insider email. Stay up to date with the latest stories and news on the AFCA website. More than just a convention, the AFCA offers continuous education, guidance, networking, and more. Celebrate the past and shape the future with the AFCA. It's about fostering exceptional coaches who create outstanding teams and even better individuals. Invest in your skills and make a lasting impact today by engaging with the AFCA. Your journey starts here.